Good evening, everyone. Shalom. Welcome to Gracie Mansion. This is the people's house. This is your house, and you are always welcome here. Now, some of you know that I spent many years working at Maimonides Medical Center, and I have to tell you, what an incredible time I had. What an experience. Among the many expressions I learned while I was working there was tikkun olam. That's my favorite. Making the world a better place for all those who suffer from mental illness and for their families is my mission, for the people who are here now and for future generations. And I went back to Maimonides Medical Center just a couple of weeks ago to thank all the incredible volunteers for their years of service, and I asked them to join our movement to make change in this area. And tonight, I want to ask all of you the same question I asked them. Will you help us to shatter the stigma around mental health? Will you help us? Yes. All right, that's good, that's good. Could be a little louder, but I'll try again. 1 in 5 New Yorkers suffers from a mental illness, which means that we are all affected, directly or indirectly. And we don't talk about it, but it's all treatable. It's all treatable, and we can all be healers by having an honest and open conversation about mental health, sharing our stories, and learning together. We can actually tear down the misconceptions that keep our communities suffering in silence and that keep people from getting the help that they need. So here's what you can do to be a healer. 1, take a mental health first aid class. It's amazing. I've done it. I'm going to do it again. We all know what to do when somebody's bleeding, but we don't know what to do if someone's having a panic attack. You learn this in mental health first aid, and it's free. You can also sign up to host a class in your synagogue or community center. And Jonathan Soto, where are you, Jonathan? Can help you get the information about how to sign up. Okay, there's someone right here who wants to sign up. Just ask any of our staff who are here. The other thing I want to give you a gift. It's a phone number. You can spread this phone number, tell everybody you know that they can call and get connected to a mental health professional, a trained counselor, for free. It's 1-888-NYC-WELL. Can you please repeat that number after me? 1-888-NYC-WELL. One more time. 1-888-NYC-WELL. All right, it's free. Okay, and since we launched Thrive NYC, which is our mental health plan, so many Jewish organizations, so many individuals have stepped up to promote wellness, and I really thank you all for it. And I hope I can count on all of you going forward. So tonight, I'm pleased that we're honoring someone who takes the concept of tikkun olam very seriously. His name is Rabbi Joe Podasnik. And I know that Bill, our mayor, will sing his praises in just a bit, but I can't pass up this opportunity to thank him for all that he does personally, because he is just so amazing. And I especially want to thank him for his leadership in bringing clergy of all faiths together around mental health. Okay, and now I get to introduce a man who works hard every day to improve the well-being of all New York City's communities, and that is our mayor, Bill de Blasio.
Welcome, everybody. Good evening. First of all, I have to say, when I think of my wife, our First Lady, she gives me nachas. She's doing so much good. And I want everyone to know, when she's telling you that phone number, she's asking you to spread it all over the community so people who need help can get help. And nowhere in all of her travels around New York City has she seen more receptivity than with organizations that do good works and do charity and help people in the Jewish community. They've been prime partners in Thrive NYC. And I think we have to give a lot of credit to our First Lady for believing that we can reach everyone with a mental health challenge in every part of this city and give them the help they need. Let's thank her for all she does. Now, tonight is a night to celebrate this amazing community. Tonight is a night to take stock of all the good. But there's also serious things going on that I need to comment on for just a quick moment, because it's a moment not here in this city but up in Albany that is going to determine a lot of the future of New York City. And it will be for the 1.1 million children in our public schools, but as we know, our Department of Education reaches all kinds of schools in many different ways. I'm very proud to say when we started our pre-K initiative, we did it with every kind of schools. Yeshivas have been a key part of our pre-K initiative and part of what's made it great. And Catholic schools and charter schools and community organizations. So we have built an approach that includes everyone. And that's part of why it works for New York City. That pre-K initiative and everything else that we do, its future will be determined by a vote in Albany this week on whether to continue mayoral control of education. And the stakes for our children couldn't be higher. So I just want to say to you at this moment, we need everybody's voice to tell our representatives in Albany that it's time to get this done, to protect mayoral control so we can keep educating all of our children. And I want to say one thing in particular. There are a lot of people who I've seen already this evening who have been leaders in this community and in all of this city in the effort to make sure our special education children get the help they need. And everyone in this room knows for too many years, kids with special needs not only had a burden to begin with, their families had a burden to begin with, but then they got a second burden put on them by the Department of Education, because it was too hard for parents to get the help they needed. It became a conflict when parents needed a helping hand. And because of mayoral control of education, the last few years we have changed that reality substantially, because the message now at the Department of Education is help families with special needs to get the help they need for their children. We don't want to add a burden to families that are struggling. We want to lighten the load. That's something that we've been able to do because we have the ability, we have the accountability, and we need to continue that. So please help me by letting your legislators know how important it is to continue this. Now, this is a very special night because we celebrate a strong and proud and growing community, and a community that has had such a positive impact on New York City. A lot of people wanted to be here tonight, a lot of notable people standing behind me to celebrate with us. I'm going to say their names. I ask you to applaud them all, and I want to start. I mentioned our pre-K efforts in yeshivas that have been such a success. The man who helped to create that plan with the yeshivas, our Deputy Mayor Richard Bury. Let's thank him. Our wonderful commissioner for the Mayor's Office of Media Entertainment, who did so much to get the Grammys back to New York City, Julie Menon. Let's thank her. And we have a number of commissioners. I'll name them all. The Commissioner for the Mayor's Office of Combat Domestic Violence, Cecile Noel, thank you for your good work. Our Oath Commissioner, Fidel Del Valle, thank you. Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Roxanne John, thank you. The Executive Director for the Mayor's Office for Special Events that do these wonderful events, Carla Matero, thank you. My Senior Advisor for Minority and Women-Owned Businesses has done so much good for the city, Janelle Doris, we thank you. And a Senior Liaison at our Community Affairs Unit, many of you know him and many of you have turned to him. He does such great work, Penny Ringel. Let's thank Penny. And then we have elected officials here doing so much for the community. Let's thank Assemblymember David Weprin, Assemblymember Dove Hyken, Councilmember Andy Cohen, Councilmember David Greenfield. Oh, wait, I read out of turn. I missed Assemblymember Jeff Dinowitz from Riverdale. Let's thank him. Also, former Assemblymember Phil Goldfeder. We thank you for all your good work. And there are so many outstanding community leaders here, but two that are dear friends I want to particularly thank. Michael Miller of the JCRC and Ronnie Towle of the Sephardic Community Federation. Now, I want to remind people at the outset of something that I like to remind my colleagues. You know, I have the pleasure of meeting mayors from Israel when they come to visit, or when I've been in Israel. And for the Salute to Israel parade, Mayor Barkat of Jerusalem was here. And he and I went to lunch after the parade. And I reminded him of the fact that my Jewish community is larger than his Jewish community in Jerusalem. And my community's growing, and I'm proud of that fact. 1.2 million Jewish New Yorkers. This is the center of the Jewish universe in so many ways. But I encourage Mayor Barkat to keep going, even though our community is bigger. I get a special opportunity as mayor of New York City. I get a window into so many wonderful communities. And when it comes to the Jewish community, I get a window into all the amazing aspects of the community, all of the extraordinary neighborhoods, every corner of Jewish New York. And I have to tell you, this is a place that is so great because we respect each other, we honor each other, we honor every faith here in this city. This is part of our magic. And this is something we have to teach the world. As New Yorkers, we have a lesson to teach the world. Because we do not think it's inconvenient that there are people of different faiths all in the same city. We think it's part of what makes us great. We think we have an obligation to protect everyone as they worship, as they go about their lives, as they live out their beliefs. We are proud to provide support and protection. And what it means, and you know, everyone here knows this is not the norm in this world. But what it means is anytime a community is affronted, anytime a community is attacked, anytime the Jewish community is attacked anywhere in the world, we make sure to have a strong NYPD presence in front of Jewish community institutions. And the message is abundantly clear. We cherish the community. We will protect the community. We cannot be great without every one of our communities. Wouldn't it be a wonderful world if that's what every government thought was its responsibility? But too often, that isn't the case. So we have an obligation as New Yorkers to show a particular example to our country, to our world. We know there's been a rise in anti-Semitism in this country, and we will not tolerate it here in New York City. We will show it does not belong in New York City. But there's something else I have to say. I believe fundamentally that there's a lot of history that teaches us why Israel is so important in this world. There's a lot of history that teaches us why the Jewish people have needed a homeland, and finally having a homeland, deserve to know that that homeland will be protected for the long haul. And this is why I want to take another occasion. I've said this before, I want to say it again. This is why I oppose the BDS movement so strongly. And I say this as a proud progressive, and I say this as a proud Democrat. There's no logic there's nothing right and just about a movement that seeks to undermine the economy of a place that has been a refuge for the oppressed. It's as simple as that. Israel was created to answer a history of oppression going back thousands of years. The BDS movement, and this is what bothers me even more, the BDS movement is actually trying to undermine one of the things that could lead to peace, which is economic opportunity for all in Israel and in the region. That's part of the way forward, and we cannot let BDS take away one of the things that could actually lead to peace for everyone. So we will continue that fight while we also continue to uphold the community here and all around the world. Now, I want to say something about, we have two special guests this evening, and one of them has a very special role. You know, I think we could say there's very few places in the world that are closer than New York City and the state of Israel. Can we agree on that statement? There's a special bond, and that bond gets exemplified by the Consul General of Israel, who represents Israel in this city and keeps that closeness. Now, a year ago, we said farewell to someone I considered a tremendous representative of Israel and someone who did so much good for this city, Ido Aharoni. We honor Ido for all he did for this city and for Israel. And now we have a new Consul General, and I'd like to welcome him to come forward and greet us all. Please welcome Consul General Danny Dayan.
Thank you so much, Mayor. You know, what you just repeated about the fact that your defense for Israel is consistent with your progressive values, I think that is one of the sentences that I quoted most since I arrived to New York 10 months ago. And I must thank you also, Mayor, for your participation in the Salute to Israel parade. You must admit that I arranged for you this year a better weather than my predecessor last year with the pouring rain. And regarding the centrality of New York, with all the due respect, I would like to say that when Prime Minister Netanyahu appointed me to this position, my first thought was, what a big honor is to represent the capital of the world, Jerusalem, to the city that fantasizes that it's the capital of the world, New York. I want also to thank you, Madam First Lady. You know, with the hectic pace of life in Israel, we need very much your experience in mental health. There is a saying that Israelis are the only people that come to Manhattan to relax.
That's good. Very good.
And I want to add this. I met not long ago a Jewish leader that originally is from Cleveland. And he told me, it's very easy to be a Jew in Cleveland. There is no problem. But to be a Jewish in New York is a complete different experience. He said, in New York, even the non-Jews, even the Gentiles, I must admit he used the word goyim, even the goyim are Jewish. You enter the grocery of your Chinese-American neighbor and he says, are you sure it's not this week that you need that Yortzeit candle for your father? So it's really very easy to be Jewish. It's very easy to be pro-Israel in New York. And I want to thank the city of New York for creating that environment. If I may add one additional sentence. I am sure we will talk all about the contribution of Jews to New York. I want to say a brief word about the contribution of New York Jews to Israel and the Jewish life in general. You contributed so many great Jews to our history, to our culture, from Isaac Stern, that contributed so much to Israel, to Elie Wiesel, to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, to so many persons, Bashevis Singer and others. There is one thing that you contributed to Jewish life that I must admit that we as Israelis didn't know that is Jewish until we start to travel to New York, but fell in love immediately with it, and that is lox with cream cheese. We brought the bagel, you brought the cream cheese with the lox, and we have a great fun with that. And my last word, I want to say that I am so honored to be here when the honoree is my great friend, Rabbi Joseph Potashnik. I think, Rabbi Potashnik, that you are one of the first persons I met in New York. There is an historical argument who was the first or the second. But I can say that if all the rabbis were like Joseph Potashnik, shul experience will be much more fun. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, now it's time for the opportunity to honor a great man. And I want to talk about Rabbi Potashnik, but first I also want to say we've been joined by a great leader from Brooklyn, Councilmember Chaim Deutsch. Let's thank him. I also want to say we have been joined by two of my deputy chiefs of staff, Rachel Lauder and Avi Fink. We welcome you. All right, Rabbi Joe Potashnik. This man is extraordinary, my friends. I think you have to come up here. Rabbi, come up here so I can say nice things in front of you. First of all, this man is so warm. He has such humor, he has such feeling for everybody in the Jewish community and all communities. And that makes him very special in this city. Whenever there's a moment where people are seeking wisdom, where there's a challenge in our city and it's about bringing all the faiths together, inevitably you hear the name Joe Potashnik. For 42 years, the rabbi of Congregation Mount Sinai in Brooklyn Heights, an FDNY chaplain, and that wasn't enough, so he's a radio host as well, Religion on the Line and WABC, which is a wonderful show. He is someone that it's almost impossible to think about New York City being as great as it is without Joe Potashnik being there to help make us great. And I know he is a source of great pride to the Jewish community, but he's also claimed by all other communities. So we have a proclamation for him. Now, Rabbi, step forward. I need you to hold this for a second. First, I'm going to tell people there's a proclamation here. It says wonderful things about Joe Potashnik. I'm not going to read them all. But here's the best part, because he has done so much for the city. It's time for him to be honored in a very special way. And so, as mayor of New York City, I do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 27, 2017, in the city of New York as Rabbi Joseph Potashnik Day. He's very shy, but maybe he'll agree to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. Thank you, First Lady McCray, who has done so much to help us talk about mental health, not whisper about it. And thank you to all of those behind me who will be running for mayor in 2020. 2021, I'm sorry. Let me let me say this. I understand that the mayor is about ready to sign a 4-year lease on this home here to your left. Mayor, you and I have spent a good deal of time in Boston. So I want to present you for your home an official world champion Boston Red Sox mezuzah.
Joe, this is the first time I've ever seen you say the wrong thing.
Let me advise you to put that on the inside of the door, not the outside. Right? Let me just say to all of you here, some years ago in Brooklyn, you remember Brooklyn, some years ago in Brooklyn, we had a judge named Louis Heller. Louis Heller writes a story that when he was very young, graduated law school, he's walking on Fifth Avenue with his mother. They were broadcasting the Jewish Hour on radio at that time. The announcer comes out to Louis Heller's mother and says, when we go back on the air, I'm going to give you some chopped liver. Would you please say, this chopped liver is the best you ever had? She said, of course I would do that. They come back on the air, he gives her the chopped liver. She says, the best chopped liver I ever had. And by the way, she said, on the air, true story, my son Louis just graduated Brooklyn Law School. If anybody needs a lawyer, please call my son. He was aghast because in those years you couldn't advertise as an attorney. So on the air he said, Ma, you can't say that. She said, Louis, why not? About the chopped liver, I'm lying. About you, I'm telling the truth. So thank you for the exaggeration tonight. But let me just say to all of you, some years ago, I remember being invited to the installation of an Archbishop. Edwin O'Brien was at St. Patrick's Cathedral. He sent me 2 tickets. I arrived at the cathedral. I only needed 1 ticket. There was an elderly Catholic woman who wanted to enter, but she didn't have a ticket. So I said, look, I have an extra one. Please take mine. She said, oh, may God bless you. Who are you? I said, I'm a rabbi. She said, a rabbi? Only in New York for a Catholic to enter St. Patrick's Cathedral, do you need a rabbi to give you a ticket? Let me say to all of you here, we need to open doors as widely as possible for one another. It was just a week ago that Ambassador Dayan, in his home, the first time ever in the history of that office in New York, he invited a group of Muslims to break the fast, iftar. There they were. Before they ate, they prayed. There was an Israeli flag. There were Muslims praying. And you said, my God, look what happens when we open doors for one another. This past Sunday, the New York Board of Rabbis was given a Torah that was hidden during the Holocaust, is now in this country, given to us by the Chapel of the 4 Chaplains in Philadelphia. Most of the members are Christian, and the Christians there said, we want to make sure this Torah that was hidden all these years has a new home in America, and they gave it to us to distribute to the various synagogues. That's what happens when we open doors for each other. So let me say to all of you here, years ago, following 9/11, we had the first Hanukkah Christmas observance, and many of us who were there will never forget what happened. Just a week before Christmas, Hanukkah, they came to put the menorah there and the Christmas tree. Now, you know a Christmas tree is very often 20 feet tall. A menorah, even a Lubavitch can't get a menorah 20 feet tall, 9 feet. So what happened? The carpenters, all of whom were Christian, came down to the 9/11 site and built a platform so that the menorah and the Christmas tree were of equal height. I say that to all of you. We are proud that we can live in a country and in a city where we can stand tall, we can stand as equals. When we bless a child, we say, may the branches be as strong as the roots. We're all of different branches, but we all share common roots. May we always stand tall, tall with others for whom we open doors, and tall with our own when doors are open for us. Thank you very much.
One more time for Rabbi Joe Potasnik. Well, You have got a beautiful evening for this event, my friends. You are welcome to enjoy Gracie Mansion. It's your house, too. As they say in Yiddish, mi casa es su casa. Everybody enjoy. Shalom.
Thank you.